In the infinite expanse of space, where silence reigns and stars are born, the James Webb Space Telescope has just captured something so profoundly strange, so breathtakingly unnatural, that it has left the global scientific community balancing admiration and apprehension. This isn't limited to a new galaxy or beautiful nebula. This concerns a revelation, a picture that is so precise, so well-planned, that it poses a threat to shake down our very foundations and define cosmic order. We've been begging by sending instruments into the darkness of the universe to reveal its secrets. But this time, the universe didn't whisper. It didn't tease. It retaliated with a roar, an image, an unmistakable structured imprint on the star's fabric. And astronomers have stopped asking what it is. They're asking who put it there. All of it started with a harmless deep field observation campaign. The Webb was pointed in the direction of a mundane area of sky, a space denoted by the word void by every predecessor, from Hubble to Spitze. The goal was easy to achieve: scan the region where anomalies with low energy might hint at primordial galaxies or gas clouds hidden behind cosmic dust. But when the raw data streamed in, something didn't add up. There was a brightness, a shimmer, not chaotic like a starburst or diffuse like a galaxy, but exact like a line drawn with intention. The spectral data began to show signatures that defied conventional categorization. Where there should be absorption lines, there were none. There was only an eerie, crystal-clear emission in the infrared, constant and unwavering. It was as though something, or someone, desired to be seen only by a machine able to see into the past. As Webb's data underwent refinement, the image sharpened into something no one could have expected. Where once there was noise, now there was structured geometric precision in a place where entropy ought to prevail. Triangular arcs, equidistant alignments, the formations bore mathematical signatures, ratios matching the golden spiral, intersections lining up with Fibonacci sequences. The object, or phenomenon, appeared more like a blueprint than a stellar body. Researchers initially thought it was a mistake, perhaps a software glitch or interference from Webb's shielding arrays. But analysis after analysis returned the same result: there weren't any flaws. This was not human error. This was created. Scientists began to talk quietly about what none dared say out loud. Had Webb photographed something that was made? Had it inadvertently taken the first portrait of cosmic architecture? As images were quietly circulated among facilities for high-level research, the reaction was unlike anything seen before. NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab held emergency briefings. The European Space Agency requested a full lockdown of their astronomical pipeline logs. Even observatories reported unusual visits from unidentified. Officials requesting copies of the initial sets of Webb data. Public statements were avoided. There was no transfer to the official database. But leaks happened. Whispers turned to shouts in dark corners of the internet. Independent researchers began evaluating the patterns to ancient Earth structures, pyramids, ziggurats, sacred geometries. Was this pareidolia on a cosmic dimension, or had humanity just glimpsed something it wasn't meant to see? The fear wasn't just about the structure. It concerned what would happen if we proved that it was real. As the phenomenon continued to be dissected, an even more remarkable theory emerged. The information suggested the object was not still. It released consistent but barely detectable pulses like a ticking clock, a beacon, and more beyond that. Those pulses followed a sequence of prime numbers. The signal was quickly modeled by mathematicians. It wasn't noise. It was information, an organized pattern that implied syntax. If this were normal, it would be the first known case of spontaneous mathematical broadcasting in the universe. However, if it weren't, then it could only mean one thing. The framework wasn't just there to be seen. It was speaking. Whether it was to us or something else remained the terrifying question. Additionally, as teams of decoders raced to translate the message, one word echoed through every conversation: invitation. In spite of the best efforts to keep the phenomenon under wraps, it was only a matter of time before the cracks in secrecy widened. A leaked image posted anonymously on a deep web forum began circulating with a caption that simply read, "It's a signal, not a star." At first, many thought it was science fiction or digital art, but those familiar with the Webb's image filters recognized the spectral overlays and color composites. Independent experts started confirming the data, and a digital wildfire followed. YouTubers, astronomers, podcasters, everyone was talking about Webb's message from the void. The media frenzy forced NASA into an uncomfortable silence. Their silence only served to exacerbate the public's growing suspicion that unprecedented activity had been uncovered. And then came the tipping point, at which a well-known astronomer broke ranks in a late-night interview, confirming that, yes, the structure was real, and no, it was not natural. With the image now public and researchers no longer bound by silence, discussions turned to theoretical implications. One term kept resurfacing, the Einstein gap, a reference to the chasm between classical physics and the inexplicable behaviors of quantum mechanics. The structure captured by Webb didn't obey expected cosmic principles. The force of its gravitational pull was anomalous. It appeared in a region where mass should be near zero. Yet, sensors detected distortions, almost as if space itself was being manipulated. Some began arguing that the object was embedded in a higher dimensional geometry, that what we saw was merely the 2D representation of an existing thing beyond our perception. Others speculated it wasn't even a thing. Rather, it was a portal, a kind of gravitational lensing so precise that it formed a corridor of space-time. Suddenly, the James Webb wasn't just an observatory. It was a key, and the door it unlocked might not just lead to knowledge, but to an entirely new reality. The conversation then veered into territory few dared explore, historical parallels across ancient civilizations, from Sumer to the Mayans, from Stonehenge to Giza. Similar patterns of geometry and celestial alignment emerge. Symbols found in remote caves depicted in the artwork appeared in Webb's image. Conspiracy, coincidence, or continuity? Could it be that our ancestors glimpsed the same structure thousands of years ago? Or worse, were they contacted by the same intelligence that Webb had now captured through cold, digital eyes? Linguists and semioticians began dissecting the signals, comparing the prime number sequence to ancient languages. Some claimed to find syntax, others embedded instructions. And though the mainstream scientific world laughed off these speculative theories, an increasing number of academics started publishing papers under pseudonyms, unwilling to stake their careers but compelled by something deeper and intuitive, almost primal recognition of the truth. Humanity was ultimately left to deal not only with the image itself but with the weight of its implications. The discovery didn't just break science, it broke something inside us. For centuries, we've searched the skies for signs of intelligence, expecting them to be either far away or long gone. But suppose they were here not in space, but in time, waiting for our technology to catch up, for our minds to be ready. Now that we had finally looked deep enough, finally built a telescope that could see the invisible, what had we awoken? For some, this finding reaffirmed faith, proof of divine intelligence, order in chaos. For others, it unraveled their beliefs. Governments began holding classified meetings. Defense contractors studied the geometry for engineering potential. Religious leaders issued vague statements of hope and fear. But no one had answers. Only the Webb, still silently drifting at L2, pointing toward the darkness that had just blinked back. Just when the global conversation began to calm and the commotion on the internet about the discovery started to settle into unease, a new anomaly emerged from the silent swan that was never meant to exist. Tucked within the last data packets transmitted after the infamous image, an unexpected fluctuation appeared, a pulse with a beat, faint but precise, resembling almost a heartbeat. It repeated in intervals, too regular to be cosmic noise and desynchronized to be a machine glitch. At first, analysts believed it might be a residual frequency from inside the Webb systems, but after triple verification by teams from NASA and ESO, the pulse was isolated. It originated from deep space, particularly the exact coordinates of the structure. This wasn't a residual echo of radiation nor a collision between elements. It was a patterned emission. Some described it as a digital signature, others as an artificial beacon encoded in waveform. What shook the scientific community to its core was the realization that this pulse aligned with timestamps from early human transmissions. It was responding. The structure, dormant and frozen in the abyss, had just sent something back, not a message, not a voice, but a rhythm. And perhaps, in the language of the cosmos, a rhythm is all it takes to say, "I see you too." What began as a scientific milestone ended in a cosmic whisper that shattered everything we believed to be known. The James Webb Telescope, built to peer back into time, may have done more than just observe. It could have been observed in return. Its final image wasn't just a snapshot of distant starlight. This was a mirror, and something looked back. The pulse hidden within the data wasn't random. It was deliberate, structured, patient, as if the universe itself had been waiting, watching, and now responding. We thought we were alone, voyeurs of the cosmos, safe behind our instruments and lenses. But the Webb has revealed something far greater than nebulae and galaxies. It uncovered the presence of intention. And in doing so, it raised a question we're still not ready to answer. Were we the ones discovering, or have we just been discovered? Now, as the silence stretches beyond that final signal, one truth echoes across observatories, labs, and sleepless minds across the world. This wasn't the end of an observation. It was the beginning of a conversation. And the most haunting part, we have no idea what spoke first. Because in space, when something speaks back, it never speaks by accident. If this discovery truly confirms what we all feared, what else is still hidden out there? Hit the like button if this left you speechless. Subscribe for more unbelievable space revelations and tell us in the comments, do you believe they are watching us now?